The United States government has spent millions of dollars on a bomb made of bats, a missile guided by a pigeon pecking at a screen, and a cat, an actual house cat, turned into a walking spy microphone. None of that is a joke. All of it is declassified. Today, we're counting down 8 of the weirdest weapons America ever built, why they got approved, what happened when they were tested, and whether taxpayers actually footed the bill. Stick around for number 1. It sounds so fake that even people who study the Cold War for years assume it's an urban legend. It isn't. Quick ground rules before we start. Every weapon on this list was a real program with a real budget line inside a real government agency. Some were tested, a couple were even deployed. I'll tell you which ones actually got funded and which ones died the moment someone senior finally read the paperwork. Let's start at number 8. Number 8, the gay bomb. In 1994, the Air Force's Wright Laboratory drafted a proposal for a non-lethal chemical weapon that used pheromones to make enemy soldiers sexually attracted to one another, in theory collapsing unit discipline without a single shot fired. Why build it? The logic was pure Cold War-era non-lethal weapons thinking, disable an army's morale and cohesion instead of killing people. What happened? The proposal sat in a drawer for over a decade until a watchdog group obtained it through a Freedom of Information Act request in 2005, and it went viral overnight. Did it get funded? Barely. The lab requested about $7.5 million over 6 years, and the Pentagon rejected it before a single dollar was spent. Its lasting legacy? An Ig Nobel Peace Prize in 2007.
Number 7, Operation Big Itch and Operation Dropkick. In the 1950s, the Army Chemical Corps ran 2 real programs testing whether infected fleas and mosquitoes could be dropped from aircraft as biological weapons. Why build it? Entomological warfare looked cheap and deniable compared to nuclear weapons. Insects could spread disease without an obvious fingerprint. What happened? Uninfected insects were released over test sites in Georgia, Florida, and Utah, sometimes over populated areas, with residents unaware they were part of a military experiment, just to measure how far the bugs would spread. Did it get funded? Yes, fully, as part of the Army's biological weapons program at Fort Detrick. The whole effort was shut down in 1969 when President Nixon banned offensive biological weapons research outright.
Number 6, the backpack nuke. The Special Atomic Demolition Munition, soldiers just called it the backpack nuke, was a nuclear device small enough to be parachuted in or carried by a 2-man Special Forces team to blow up a bridge, dam, or mountain pass behind enemy lines. Why build it? NATO planners wanted a way to stop a Soviet tank advance through Europe even if regular forces were overrun. What happened? It was real, and soldiers trained on it. The dark joke inside Special Forces was that planting it was a one-way mission. Outrunning a nuclear blast on foot wasn't exactly built into the plan. Did it get funded? Fully deployed from 1964 to 1989. It was never used in combat and was quietly retired at the end of the Cold War.
Number 5, the Davy Crockett. Imagine a nuclear weapon small enough to be fired out of something that looks like an oversized bazooka. That's the Davy Crockett, a low-yield nuclear warhead fired from a recoilless rifle, light enough for a small crew or a jeep to carry. Why build it? The Army wanted tactical nuclear firepower at the squad level to stop a massed Soviet invasion in its tracks. What happened? It was actually stationed with U.S. troops in West Germany through the 1960s. The catch? Its minimum safe firing range was uncomfortably close to its own blast radius, meaning the crew firing it wasn't guaranteed to walk away either. Did it get funded? Yes. Fully built, fielded, and eventually retired in 1971 once precision-guided weapons made it obsolete.
Number 4, Project Pigeon. Psychologist B.F. Skinner, yes, the famous behaviorist, pitched the military on a missile guidance system where a live pigeon, trained to peck at a moving target on a screen, would steer the missile toward it in real time. Why build it? In the early 1940s, electronic guidance systems barely existed. A trained pigeon was, on paper, cheaper and more reliable than the era's clunky electronics. What happened? It actually worked in testing. Skinner later joked that the whole project's failure had nothing to do with accuracy. It was that no general could sit through a demonstration and take a pigeon-guided missile seriously. Did it get funded? Yes, through the National Defense Research Committee, but it was canceled in 1944 once radar-based guidance matured.
Number 3. Who, me? The stink bomb.
The OSS, the CIA's World War II predecessor, developed a chemical spray nicknamed Who Me, designed for French resistance fighters to spray on Nazi officers in public, publicly humiliating them with an overpowering stench. Why build it? Psychological warfare, undermining and occupying officers' authority in front of civilians without any violence at all. What happened? The formula worked almost too well. It was so potent that it clung to whoever sprayed it, meaning the resistance fighter using it often ended up smelling just as bad as the target, making it nearly useless for a covert operation. Did it get funded? Yes, produced by the OSS in limited quantities, though it saw only scattered use before the war ended. Number 2, the Bat Bomb. A dental surgeon named Lytle S. Adams convinced the U.S. military to fund bats, actual bats, fitted with tiny, timed incendiary devices to be released over Japanese cities. The idea? The bats would roost in the wooden eaves of homes before the devices ignited, starting thousands of small fires at once. Why build it? Japanese cities at the time were built largely from wood and paper, and firebombing was already seen as a viable strategy. What happened? During a test at Carlsbad Army Airfield in New Mexico, the bats escaped early and set fire to a hangar and a general's car. In a later mock village test, the bats performed better than expected. Actual analysts believed it could outdamage traditional incendiary bombs. Did it get funded? Yes, around $2 million by the Navy, before the program was scrapped in 1944, not because it failed, but because the Manhattan Project was moving faster.
Number 1, Acoustic Kitty. This is the one that sounds completely made up. It isn't. In the 1960s, the CIA surgically implanted a microphone and a small antenna into a live cat, threading the wiring through its body, with the goal of using the animal to eavesdrop on conversations near Soviet officials, parks, embassy grounds, anywhere a cat could wander unnoticed. Why build it? A cat could get closer to a conversation than any human agent or hidden device without raising suspicion. On paper, it was the ultimate deniable listening post. What happened? On its very first field test, the cat was released near a target location and was struck and killed by a taxi within minutes of being set loose. Did it get funded? Yes, reportedly upwards of $20 million over roughly 5 years of development, according to details that surfaced after partial declassification in 2001. The program was shut down for good after that first test, with an internal memo reportedly calling the whole approach impractical going forward. It remains one of the clearest examples in U.S. history of a fully funded, fully engineered weapons program that was undone by something as mundane as traffic.
From bats to backpack nukes to a spy cat that never stood a chance against Washington traffic, American weapons programs have a long history of chasing ideas most people would assume only exist in a comedy sketch. If you want a deep dive into any one of these, the Bat Bomb especially has a wild extended story. Let me know in the comments, and I'll consider a full episode. Subscribe for more strange but true history, and I'll see you in the next one.